Hello to all Cinemaster lovers. Hope you enjoy watching. Let's get started. Black Panther, Wakanda. Forever begins with the death of King T'Challa, leaving the nation of Wakanda in mourning and vulnerable. His sister, Shuri, and mother, Queen Ramonda, struggle to lead while facing pressure from global powers seeking to exploit Wakanda's resources. Meanwhile, an advanced underwater civilization, Talokan, led by the powerful Namor, reveals itself and threatens Wakanda over the discovery of vibranium in the ocean. Namor believes that Wakanda must ally with Talokan to defend against the outside world, but Ramonda and Shuri refuse. The tension leads to a fierce battle, and Shuri eventually takes on the mantle of the Black Panther to protect her people. In the final confrontation, Shuri and Namor reach a tentative truce, and Wakanda emerges stronger, pledging to protect their nation and honor T'Challa's legacy. The film explores themes of grief, legacy, and unity, while introducing new challenges for Wakanda's future. For thousands of years, in a land made of vibranium, which is considered the strongest material in the universe, it struck the African continent and affected all the plants. And when humans appeared in this place, 5 tribes settled together and named the place Wakanda. The 5 tribes were in a constant war throughout their lives, until a warrior received a vision from the panther, and this panther gave him a sacred heart-shaped herb. And when the warrior consumed the plant, he gained an astonishing superhuman power, which endowed him with speed, strength, and the ability to absorb gas. And then he became the first king and the first Black Panther of the 5 tribes, and his mission was to protect Wakanda. 4 of the 5 tribes decided to live under the rule of the new king, while the Jabari tribe chose to live alone in the mountains. As the years passed, the people of Wakanda used vibranium to develop themselves, revolutionized technology, and became more advanced than any other country in the world. And when Wakanda flourished, wars and chaos erupted in the world. So, they decided to hide themselves from the world to protect the vibranium and shield themselves from potential enemies. And through this method, they managed to hide the secret of their power from the rest of the world. Then, the year 1992 in the United States, where some children were playing basketball near their home, and suddenly a strange plane appeared in the sky. Then, a person named Jubo and his friend James appear, hearing a knock on the door. And when James opens the door, 2 women enter, wearing strange clothes and carrying a spear. Jobo introduces himself as the son of Azor and the brother of King T'Challa, who is the current king of Wakanda. Jobo proves the truth of his words to them through the blue tattoo on his lip, which is the tattoo that distinguishes the people of Wakanda. After that, King T'Challa appears, and the women bow to him. Then, Jobo introduces his friend James to his brother, assuring him of his blind trust in him. King T'Challa tells James that Wakanda was recently attacked by someone named Ulysses, who stole 250,000 kilograms of vibranium and placed a bomb on the borders of Wakanda. The attack resulted in the deaths of many of Wakanda's people, and the biggest problem was that Ulysses knew the location of the vibranium storage and how to attack Wakanda, and it seems that there is a spy from within Wakanda. Then T'Challa turns to his brother's eye and says to him, "Why did you betray us?" Jobo replies, "I didn't do that." T'Challa asks James to reveal his true identity and discovers that James is actually Azur, whom King T'Challa had sent to spy on Jobo. And when Jobo discovered the truth, he got angry with James and said to him, "You are the one I trusted the most." And when King T'Challa confirms that his brother is the traitor, he decides to take him to Wakanda to bring him to justice, leaving the council to determine the punishment. After a few minutes, Jobo's son, named Killmonger, and his friend who were playing basketball in the streets. At that moment, they see the king's plane as he leaves the place. And after 26 years, King T'Challa dies after being attacked, and it becomes necessary for the people of Wakanda to choose a new king. According to tradition, the king's son will take the throne after him. Everyone wished for Prince T'Challa to become king, but before his coronation ceremony, T'Challa travels to Nigeria to complete a certain mission. His mission is to rescue his girlfriend Nikia, who was held captive by criminals trafficking women. T'Challa goes to the forests of Nigeria, where the criminals feel the danger. They prepare to defend themselves, while Nakia notices that they are getting ready to face the danger. And when they discover that T'Challa is the one attacking them, Nakia collaborates with him to eliminate the criminals, while T'Challa wears the Black Panther suit, which protects him from any injury thanks to the vibranium material. Thanks to this suit, T'Challa is able to defeat all the criminals. Nikia tells him that the operation he was working on was a smuggling operation, and that she was disguised among the criminals. While they were talking, another criminal who was not dead yet appeared, raising his weapon to threaten one of the women. But Okoye stepped out and killed this criminal. At that moment, T'Challa tells Nakia about his father's death and asks her to attend his coronation as the new king. Nakia agrees and frees all the imprisoned women. After that, the three return to Wakanda, and when they arrive, they see that Wakanda is a kingdom of extraordinary beauty, filled with stunning landscapes. Contrary to what the world believes, Wakanda is not a poor country or a third-world nation. It is one of the most advanced countries in the world, with technologies that do not exist anywhere else. And upon their arrival, they meet Queen Ramonda and Princess Shuri, who is responsible for technology in the kingdom. Shuri tells her brother T'Challa that she has made modifications to the Black Panther suit. In London, Killmonger, who is now in the museum, inspecting an ancient artifact. A woman appears and tells him that one of the stolen artifacts from Wakanda is there, so he decides to steal it. The next day, the four tribes gathered in preparation for King T'Challa's coronation ceremony. And when T'Challa arrived, Shuri drank a special potion through which the power of the Black Panther was drawn from T'Challa's body, because T'Challa would face any warrior who dared to challenge him for the throne. But none of the four tribes wanted to challenge him for the throne, despite their desire to be the king. But before the official announcement of the king, the Jabari tribe appeared, and their king, M'Baku, decided to challenge T'Challa for the throne, so a fight broke out between them. At first, Baku managed to knock T'Challa down, but he quickly got back up and regained his strength. After a series of exchanged blows, T'Challa managed to overcome Baku and forced him to surrender, which Baku did after T'Challa told him that his tribe needed him. And after the surrender, the tribes celebrated the victory of the new king. Then T'Challa went through a second stage of the previous king's rituals, where he drank a sacred drink from his tribe and was buried in the sand. During this period, he lost consciousness and saw a tree filled with Black Panthers. Among them was his father. T'Challa tried to talk to him and asked him to teach him how to become a great king in order to protect his people. His father gave him important advice and advised him to surround himself with people he trusts because he will face many challenges. After this vision, T'Challa regained consciousness and was happy because he had spoken with his father again. Then, T'Challa contacted Shuri, his sister, and asked her to stay by his side, but she told him she had to leave because she had a goal to achieve. She said she couldn't live happily in Wakanda while there are other people in the world suffering. She wanted to help those simple people, but T'Challa strongly opposed it, insisting that Wakanda must remain hidden from the rest of the world to ensure its safety. Later, T'Challa received a message from Okoye, who asked him to come to the palace immediately. There, Okoye told them that Ulysses had stolen an artifact from a museum in London and was planning to sell it to an American in Korea. She added that Ulysses had stolen many pieces of vibranium from Wakanda in the past, and since then, they had been unable to catch him. T'Challa decided to personally go to Korea to capture Ulysses. T'Challa went to Shuri, who made him new equipment, including a remote communication device and a new Black Panther suit. The new suit had a special chain that allowed him to activate it just by thinking about it. In Korea, T'Challa entered with Okoye and Nakia into the place where the deal was to take place, where he met his old friend, Agent Ross. T'Challa discovered that Ross was the one planning to buy the artifact from Ulysses, but he told him that he would take on the task of capturing Ulysses. When Ulysses appeared with his men, a shootout began between the two sides, and Okoye and Nakia joined the battle. The Wakandan forces easily overcame Ulysses' men. However, Ulysses used a powerful weapon to attack T'Challa, resulting in his injury. But T'Challa managed to overcome him and was able to destroy one of his men's cars before being attacked again. The fighting continued until Ulysses was captured, who confessed to stealing vibranium from Wakanda. Agent Ross had been injured after taking a hit on behalf of Nakia. T'Challa decided to take Ross to Wakanda for treatment, and he agreed to it despite Okoye's objections. After Ross was treated, T'Challa began talking to Kabi about everything that had happened, which made Kabi angry because he expected T'Challa to kill Ulysses for what he did to his parents. As events unfolded, both Ulysses and his gang were planning to escape using a plane, but Killmonger, one of his gang members, had another plan. He killed the pilot and threatened to use his weapon against Ulysses. In the end, Ulysses fled, but Killmonger killed one of his men, and when he faced T'Challa with a stronger weapon, he decided to leave him alive so as not to cause greater harm. The truth that T'Challa discovered was shocking, as he found out that Jobo, Killmonger's father, had betrayed Wakanda and handed over the vibranium to Ulysses. This approach began several decades ago when Jobo decided to help the black people in America and provide them with means of defense, which King T'Challa rejected at the time. T'Challa managed to confront the bitter truth about his family's past and identified the traitor who caused much suffering. Now, M'Baku has grown older, returned for revenge, and gone to the borders of Wakanda. He met Okabe and his men, the agent of Mangor, where he was presenting them with the body of Ulysses, whom they had been unable to capture for years. Immediately, Mangor earned the punitive's sympathy, and at that moment, Agent Ross woke up, incredulous that he had survived after being shot. After that, Shuri herself told him everything that had happened while he was asleep, and Ross expressed his astonishment at the place and the advanced technology present there. Meanwhile, Shuri received a call from Okoye, who informed her that a stranger had entered Wakanda. At the same time, T'Chaka was sitting with Nakia, and he told her the truth he had discovered. T'Challa began to blame his father for leaving M'Baku alone when he was young, not taking him with him, but raising him among his people in Wakanda. At that moment, T'Challa received a call from Shuri, asking him to come to her lab immediately. And when he went to her, she told him that a stranger had entered Wakanda. Ross saw a picture of Kongar and recognized him, saying that Kongar is a former Navy soldier who was in Afghanistan. After that, Okabe Kongar was presented to King T'Challa, and the Mangor counselor explained that he was the son of Prince Jobo, who was killed by King Chaka in the past, which means he is King T'Challa's cousin and has royal blood just like him, and he has the right to challenge King T'Challa to a duel for the throne. T'Challa accepted the challenge and drank the potion that grants the power of the Black Panther, so that both parties would be at the same strength. The agent of M'Baku said he had waited for that moment his entire life, and he had many marks on his body, each mark representing a person he had killed in his life. He added that he had trained his whole life to be ready to face T'Challa. The fight began, and Mangor attacked fiercely, while T'Challa defended himself using the shield, taking many hits until he managed to bring Mangor down. He told him to surrender, but Mangor refused to give up. After that, T'Challa had the chance to kill him, but he didn't want to. He just wanted Mangor to surrender, but Mangor refused. It was clear that T'Challa was starting to lose the battle and M'Baku was about to kill him. But Zuri intervened and told M'Baku that he was the reason for his father's death. And when Mangor found out, he killed him immediately, then lifted T'Challa and threw him into the river. The T'Challa family was terrified of Kungar while they fled. Mangor was crowned the new king, while Nakia met Okoye and asked for her help in killing Mangor. Okoye wanted to do it, but she said she couldn't kill the king because she had to be loyal to the throne, no matter who the king was. At the same time, T'Challa went to the lab, where Shuri asked him to help Ross, who was a former fighter pilot, destroy the planes carrying vibranium before they reached the ground. While Ross was on his way to destroy the planes, M'Baku was planning to launch the attack. Ultimately, the battle between T'Challa and Mangor turned into a major war, as Oki had ordered her warriors to assist T'Challa in the fight. After a long battle, T'Challa managed to kill M'Baku, even though he didn't want to kill him. He would have preferred M'Baku to surrender. After his death, Mangor asked T'Challa to take him to his favorite spot to watch the sunset, as his father had wished. T'Challa took M'Baku to the mountain, where he watched the sunset before returning to the throne. After his return, T'Challa thanked Nakia for her loyalty and asked her to stay by his side in Wakanda. Nakia had stolen the sacred herb that grants the power of the Black Panther before M'Baku burned it. T'Challa developed an international aid center in America, where Nakia was responsible for information exchange, while Shuri worked on developing technology. A year later, Queen Ramonda attended the United Nations meeting, where she took over the rule of Wakanda after her son's death. UN members insisted that Wakanda share the vibranium metal, but Ramonda confirmed that Wakanda refuses to share vibranium out of fear of its use in weapon manufacturing. After an attack on Wakanda by French soldiers to steal vibranium, Okoye and the Dora were able to defeat the soldiers. Then Ramonda brought the soldiers to the council and threatened them with illegal use of vibranium if they continued to try to dominate Wakanda. The Atlantic Ocean, where the American intelligence had sent a mission there. This mission was using a new device to detect the locations of vibranium, and the team descended to explore the vibranium in the ocean. Indeed, using this device, they discovered a small vibranium mine. The divers were going to explore the mine well, but after a few minutes, the divers suddenly disappeared. Then a strange sound emerged from the water, and this sound magnetically attracted all the crew members of the ship, causing them to jump into the water. Then strange blue-colored beings appeared on the ship, where they killed all the American intelligence agents. About 100 people died, and although they shot at them, it had no effect. The only person who managed to escape on a plane was the commander responsible for the operation, who thought she had saved her life. But the leader of the blue people managed to shoot down her plane into the water. After that, the American intelligence accused Canada of killing its agents, especially after Raymond's threat to the United Nations yesterday. Ramonda went to Shuri and asked her to return to working on the sacred herb, because they need a new Black Panther to defend the kingdom. But Shuri told her that she needed to rest first and offered to visit her brother's grave. They then went to T'Challa's grave, where they were sitting together, and suddenly a strange figure emerged from the water with wings. This person's name was Namor, and he was the leader of the blue people who had just appeared. Ramonda and Shuri were afraid of him, and they drew their weapons against him. However, Namor managed to break through the wall that was blocking them. Then he calmed them down by saying that he came to talk to them, introduced himself, and said that he was the king of the kingdom of Talok, an underwater kingdom. He added that he possesses large quantities of vibranium like them, and blamed T'Challa because he was the one who revealed the existence of vibranium to the world, and then some people started attempting to steal the vibranium. Then he told them about the American intelligence mission that tried to steal vibranium from his land, where they were using a new device to detect vibranium. Namor added that he and his people dealt with them and took the device that detects the location of vibranium. Namor asked Ramonda to cooperate together to confront the people who want to steal the vibranium, especially the person who invented the device to detect the location of the vibranium. He asked her to find out the identity of this person and bring him to them, but Ramonda refused and said she doesn't take orders from anyone. Namor replied to her, saying, "You do not know my power or the power of my kingdom, so I will give you a chance, but I have more soldiers than the crops in your land. If you don't bring me this person, I will consider you enemies." Then he gave them a device and told them that they would communicate with him through it, and he left them and walked away. The next day, Ramonda gathered the entire Wakanda council and told them about Namor and what he had said. Everyone was surprised because no cameras had captured Namor's entry into Wakanda. The council was afraid of Namor because they had never encountered a being like him who possessed vibranium. Moreover, they did not have Black Panther to protect them. Some suggested handing over the inventor of the device to Namor, while others believed they should wait for Namor to arrive and then kill him. But Ramonda was confused and unsure of the right decision. Meanwhile, Shuri was studying the device and told Ramonda that it could indeed detect the location of the vibranium. She added that the person who invented the device is a genius. Then Ramonda said that they should find the inventor of the device, and she asked Shuri to go with her to search for him. At first, Ramonda refused out of fear for her daughter, but Okoye convinced her by saying that Shuri needed to get out of her lab to breathe, as she hadn't left it since T'Challa's death. Ramonda trusted Okoye because she is a strong warrior and would be able to defend Shuri. Indeed, Shuri and Okoye went to America and met Agent Ross, who initially refused to tell them the identity of the device's inventor because he believed that Wakanda was the one who attacked the mission in the ocean. But they told him that Wakanda was not the one who attacked them. It was a people living underwater who possess vibranium like them. Then they asked for his help, where he told them that the inventor of the device is a small family that is 19 years old and called Rizi. Shuri went to meet Riri and discovered that she knew her and was very impressed with the Wakanda civilization, which is why she invented the vibranium detector. Riri told Shuri that her university professor had said she couldn't make a device like that, but Shuri was amazed by her ingenuity. Shuri told Riri that she was no longer safe and that she had to go with them. They headed to Riri's lab to collect her belongings, but they were surprised by the arrival of the American intelligence at the scene. Riri started shooting at the police officers and escaped in the suit she invented, while Shuri fled on a motorcycle and Okoye in a car. The police chased them, but they managed to escape. However, the danger was not over yet. The Tolok people appeared and began fighting Okoye. Okoye was strong and managed to fend off most of them, but one of them was stronger than her, and he managed to throw her into the water. Then Shuri appeared, and they were about to kill them, but Shuri asked them to meet Namor and his people. Namor agreed and took Shuri and Riri to his kingdom. And after they arrived there, Shuri discovered that the place was filled with artifacts dating back to the Middle Ages. She asked him about his origin, and he told her that he had been living for hundreds of years and that he was now 5 years old. He began to tell her his story and the story of his people, saying that they were a tribe living in North America in the 15th century. Spain had occupied their land, and the Spaniards had brought a disease that ravaged many of them. One day, a member of their tribe discovered a blue plant in the water, and when they drank from it, their skin turned blue, and they became able to breathe underwater. They decided to live underwater and create their own civilization, and Namor was born first underwater, thanks to the plant, and he developed wings on his legs. He also gained the ability to breathe in the air. Then Shuri recounted how her people managed to take revenge on the Spaniards who had treated them violently, and when Shuri talked about the kingdom, Namor agreed to show it to us, and of course Shuri was fascinated by what she saw. But she rejected Namor's plan for revenge and killing Riri, telling him that matters were bigger than just a little girl, but about humans who only care about resources. Finally, Shuri understood from Namor's words that he wanted to wage war on the surface and that he needed Wakanda's help. At the same time, she had reached the shore, and Ramonda was agreeing with her to get Shuri Bay out. Then Ramonda tried to get Namor out of the water to buy some time for Nakia. Indeed, she sent a message to Nemo that she wanted to meet him, so Nemo emerged from the water to confront her. Ramonda sat down to give him some time, while Nikia sneaked into the kingdom of Tolucan. There were Tolucan soldiers watching her, but she killed them. Then she transported Shuri and Riri to the water's surface where Ramonda was waiting for them with a plane, and took them back to Luanda. Then Namor turned, learned what had happened, and saw the bodies of his soldiers, which left him deeply exhausted. He went to gather his people and announced to them that he was wrong to think he could trust Wakanda, but he decided to correct his mistake and declared that they would attack the kingdom of Wakanda. On the other side in Wakanda, Okoye was meeting her sister Nakia, whom she hadn't seen in many years. They sat together and talked for a short while, then suddenly discovered that Namor was attacking the kingdom. The people of Talokan arrived in Wakanda and began destroying it, while M'Baku, Shuri, and the rest of the Wakandan army tried to defend their land. Queen Ramonda attacked them with all the planes she had, and when Namor emerged from the water, he discovered that the queen's palace was undefended. Immediately, when Baku saw Namora, he attacked him, but Namor delivered a single blow to his chest, sending him flying through the air. Namor destroyed Wakanda's planes, and no one was able to hit him. After destroying the planes, he headed to Ramonda's palace and threw water bombs at it, drowning her, which led to Ramonda's death. Okoye and Nakia tried to save her, but it was too late. Namor stopped the attack and told them that Ramonda deserved to die, and that he killed her as a warning to them. If they decided not to cooperate with him in the fight against the surface dwellers, he would return with his full army to destroy Wakanda. Then, Namor descended into the water and drifted away. Shuri was deeply shocked when she learned of her mother's death, and the funeral for Queen Ramonda was held. Shuri was in a very bad state after losing her mother and brother in a short period of time. After that, Shuri took the throne and composed herself as the Queen of Wakanda. At the same time, Agent Ross arrived at the house of his intelligence director, De Fontaine, who had planted listening devices on him. I discovered that he had contacted Queen Ramonda and warned her that America wanted to attack them. Based on that, the American intelligence issued a decision to execute Agent Ross. In her private laboratory, Shuri continued to create the sacred plant, as she was planning to declare war on Namor and avenge her mother. Riri was helping her make the sacred plant because she was a very smart girl. Riri had devised a plan to eliminate Namor. After a long effort, Shuri succeeded in creating the plant, and its success rate was 98%. They extracted the liquid from the plant, and Shuri drank it. The plant Shuri created was indeed successful, which led to her losing consciousness. Shuri moved to another world, where she was supposed to see visions related to her family. She expected to see Ramonda or T'Challa, but she was surprised to see a vision of Mangir. Shuri was surprised because she didn't expect to see him, but Mangir was considered part of her family because he was her cousin. Killmonger said to her, "I appeared to you because our goal is the same, which is revenge. So it was I who appeared to you and not anyone else." Shuri hated M'Baku deeply because he was the reason for everything that had happened to them since he decided to burn the sacred plants. But M'Baku told her that was in the past, and that he did everything for Wakanda and her mother. Killmonger told her that her mother was the reason for all of this, and that she couldn't get along with Namora, so the result was that Shuri decided to take revenge on Namor and kill him. After that, Shuri woke up, and she was angry because she hadn't seen T'Challa or Ramonda, and she thought they didn't love her. But she quickly forgot all that because she gained superpowers. Then Shuri wore the Black Panther suit she designed and gathered the Council of Advisors in Wakanda, where they all rejoiced at her return. And she announced that she would defend them, telling them that it was time to attack to reclaim their dignity. She had a plan to bring Namor to the place she wanted. The plan was to use a device that detects vibranium in the water. And when Namor discovered the device in the water, he took his people and headed there. The people of Talokan fell into the trap as the Wakandan army appeared, and they were well prepared. A fierce battle began between the two armies. Riri was fighting with them in a new superhero suit she had made, and the Wakandan soldiers were fighting with greater courage and strength than ever before, thanks to the presence of the Black Panther. Riri managed to capture Namor inside a Wakandan aircraft, and Shuri sealed all the exits of the aircraft with the aim of keeping Namor away from water for a long time so he would die without oxygen. Indeed, Namor began to feel dizzy because he needed to stay near the water to breathe. When the Wakandan army learned that Namor would be captured, they were on their way back to Wakanda, but they couldn't return because their ship was destroyed. The Talokan army began their attack, while Namor was trying to destroy the aircraft to escape the predicament and return to the water to breathe. Then Shuri ordered the AI to guide them to the desert to ensure that Namor wouldn't be able to breathe even if the plane was destroyed. But Namor managed to get rid of Shuri and destroy the pilot in the desert, where there was a battle between them. Namor continued to attack Shuri, while Shuri responded with many powerful strikes. Their powers were very close, At the same time, the Wakandan army was losing the battle, and Namor, although far from water, was still strong. He was holding his spear and stabbing Shuri's body, saying to her, "It was our time to cooperate," but he was very tired due to the lack of water and was on his way to the sea. But Shuri resisted the pain, followed Namor, and prevented him from taking another step towards the water. Nemo's body cracked from the dryness and fell to the ground. Shuri raised the spear at him, but before she could kill him, a vision from Ramonda came to her. Ramonda said in her vision, "You are not an evil person, so do not kill him and show him your jewel." Shuri decided to stop the war there and asked him to surrender, saying, "If you surrender, Wakanda will protect your shores, and I will let you and your people live in peace." Namor heard her words and surrendered. Then they returned together to their armies. The fighting stopped, and the people of Wakanda lived in peace once again. Shuri planted the sacred plants, then went to help Riri with her travel so she could live her life in America. She showed her the car after she fixed it. On the other side, Agent Ross had been taken in a car to be executed, but the road was blocked. Okoye came to save Ross and decided to take him to Wakanda as a gesture of gratitude. She spoke to Shuri about the throne in Wakanda and about Baku, where she saw that Baku is a strong warrior and deserves the throne. Okoye also decided to live with Nakia in Africa. She went to the beach and sat there, reminiscing about her memories with her brother T'Challa, until Nakia walked in. To her surprise, it turned out that Nakia had given birth to a son from T'Challa and named him T'Challa, and no one ever knew this secret. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification button